Thomas and Gordon off the rails. "Wake up, Gordon," said his driver one morning. "A special train is coming and you're to pull it." "Is it coaches or trucks?" asked Gordon. "Trucks," said his driver. "Trucks!" grumbled Gordon. "I won't go! I won't go!" Gordon began to sulk and his fire wouldn't burn properly. When Edward pushed him to the turntable, he didn't help at all. "Trucks!" hissed Gordon. "I'll show them!" And when the turntable was halfway round, he moved slowly forward. He only meant to go far enough to jam the turntable, but once he was moving, he found he couldn't stop. "Whoosh!" he said, as he went right off the rails, slithered down the bank, and landed in a ditch. A family of toads crowed crossly at Gordon as he laid in the mud. Some boys saw him and shouted, "Doesn't he look silly? They'll never get him out." They began to sing, "Silly old Gordon fell in the ditch, fell in the ditch, fell in the ditch. Silly old Gordon fell in the ditch, all on a Monday morning." They telephoned the Fat Controller. "Tell Edward to take the special," he ordered. "What's that? Gordon? I'll leave him where he is. We've no time to bother with him." It was dark when they came for Gordon. They brought floodlights and powerful jacks. The workmen attached strong wire ropes to Gordon's back end. They built a ramp of sleepers, and James and Henry, pulling hard, managed to get Gordon back onto the rails. A few days later, Thomas was at the junction when Gordon arrived with some trucks. "Phew!" remarked Thomas to Annie and Clarabelle. "Can you smell a smell? A funny, musty sort of smell?" "No," said Annie and Clarabelle. "I can't smell a smell." "Do you know what I think it is?" said Thomas, staring at Gordon. "It's ditch water!" But before Gordon could answer, Thomas had quietly puffed away. Annie and Clarabelle were shocked. "He's dreadfully rude, we feel quite ashamed," they called to each other, as Thomas hurried them along. But Thomas didn't care. "That was funny," he said to himself. Later, Thomas took some empty trucks to a mine. Long ago, miners digging for lead had tunneled into the ground. One of the tunnels went right underneath the railway, and the ground above was weak. At this point, a large notice board said, "Danger! Engines must not pass this point." Thomas had often tried, but never succeeded. Today, he had a plan. He had to push empty trucks into one siding and take full ones from another. His fireman got down to turn the points. Thomas's driver leaned out of the cab to see where he was going. "Now," said Thomas to himself, and, bumping the trucks fiercely, he jerked his driver off the footplate. "Stupid old board, there's no danger," he said as he followed the trucks past the point. There was a loud rumbling sound. "Look out!" shouted Thomas's driver. The fireman scrambled into the cab and put Thomas's brakes on, but it was too late. "Fire and smoke!" shouted Thomas. "I'm sunk!" And he was. The rails broke and he slid down a large hole. "Oh dear," Thomas said. "I am a silly engine." "And a very naughty one too," said a voice behind him. "I saw you." "Please get me out," said Thomas. "I won't be naughty again." "I'm not so sure," said the Fat Controller. "We can't lift you out with a crane. The ground isn't firm enough. I wonder if Gordon can pull you out." "Gordon?" said Thomas nervously. He wasn't sure he wanted to see Gordon again just yet. When Gordon heard about Thomas's accident, he laughed loudly. "Down the mine, is he? Ho, ho, ho! What a joke!" But he hurried to the rescue. Gordon reached the mine and carefully drew up behind Thomas. "Poop, poop, little Thomas," he whistled. "We'll have you out there in a couple of puffs." Strong cables were fastened between the two engines. "Are you ready?" called the Fat Controller. 1, 2, 3, heave!" Slowly, using all his energy, Gordon pulled Thomas onto the rails again and safely past the board. Thank you for rescuing me, said Thomas to Gordon, while his driver and fireman looked to see where he was hurt. I'm sorry I was cheeky. That's all right, Thomas, said Gordon. You made me laugh. I like that. I'm in disgrace, and it cheered me up. I'm in disgrace too, said Thomas. Why, so you are, Thomas. We're both in disgrace. Shall we form an alliance? What? Asked Thomas. An alliance, Thomas. United we stand, together we fall, said Gordon grandly. You help me, and I'll help you. All right, said Thomas, and buffer to buffer, the Allies puffed home.